I've gotten phone calls from school and the boys are younger.
Good evening.
There's a problem.
On this beautiful day in Eugene. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Welcome
the police were involved
to
one time.
Pacific Northwest Evening. This event is sponsored by Tsunami as part of the third Saturday reading series. And before we get started, I wanted to tell you about the next third Saturday reading event, which is Saturday, May 18th. And it features Martha and Jerry Gatchell, who happen to be the hosts of this fabulous spread of wonderful food back there. Big thanks to them for the refreshments, and be sure to come the next third Saturday. They're going to be reading some of their own work and that of some of their favorite writers. Yay! Well, tonight, as part of a Pacific Northwest evening, we have two writers from Seattle and two writers from Eugene. And the way we'll do this, we'll start with two poets, then we'll take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll hear two prose writers. Our first poet is John Burgess from Seattle. John grew up in upstate New York, worked on a survey crew in Montana, taught English in Japan, and then settled on Seattle as his home, where he's lived since 1985. John was a 2006 Jack Straw writer, co-founder of the original Burning Word Festival, and the 2008 Wordsworth Curator for the Seattle City Council. He's currently the editor for the online literary journal Snow Monkey and a board member at the Richard Hugo House, which is Seattle's Center for Writers. Ravenna Press publishes his poetry, John Burgess.
Dakota, a long philosophical discussion about badlands, dead languages, between breaths read lips, the pauses caused by sparse pines, the subtlety of tongues on pavement. They can tell we're not from around here. Our yelps, awkward catching of our breaths, losing trail over well-worn paths, windows rolled down, our backs turned down the valley, tongues loosen, the pop of potab tops, Gallatin nights. Singing along with the jukebox, slow ballad. He works out lines, lyrical sentiment recited later when confronted what to say, note for note, after parking lot dust has settled. When we hold hands, it makes sign language difficult. Palm to palm, at least the model's at hand. When words are put in his mouth, his name is, he would like. Hands are beggars, opened heavenward, empty. Years from now, we'll yell into each other's good ear. Put everything we say in imperative. Guess a lot. Laugh at the wrong time. Have to ask, what? Or won't respond at all, tight-lipped as corpses. Joyride ends at the border. Starch customs man acts all suspicious, all black glove. We learn Canadian words for sir, flag waving, open your trunk. How to wipe smiles from our faces, bite each other's tongues. Chew a sutra, regurgitate one's carefully inked, balanced ideograms. How much heart can you stomach? As sumi stains your tongue, your throat threaded, bleeded, cud, and more cud. He stuffs his mouth with pebbles, gravelly syntax, each word's weight, stony, not retractable, choked utterances exposed by erosion's unrelenting wash and tumble, spews scree, sedimentary, and mumbled. Talk to me, upstate, Your border dialect, transposed consonants, tumbled diphthongs, vowels as open as the St. Lawrence, pronunciations as buried as Buffalo, chop of North Clip Lake effect winds across Ontario. We won't stop until Minneapolis, head due east to take back what we said. No response in 3 a.m. radio, Great Plains, static tuned to single frequency, wrap ourselves in twin-sized blankets in the bed of a Chevy pickup in idle. Nothing left but hum. That's called Speech Impediment from History of Guns in the Family. These are imperfect sonnets from punk poems. Could I love her more if she wore dark glasses and a scarf like Jackie O? If she chain smoked, spit and swore, shot back whiskey, bucked like a bronco? If she spoke of disappointment, lived a landscape of bare light bulbs and ashtrays, broke hearts, sang of redemption, desire, escape? If she made me wear a dog collar, sit up and wait for her at the kitchen table? If she called me daddy when she came in late? As if we were both longing to find out just what Hank Williams was talking about. I have the kiss of Walt Whitman still on my lips, Oscar Wilde. Is it that I love you is too trite, that it's too short, too few words, that a mouth can't take it seriously? Is it too easily lied, a tongue slipping on its consonants, or does it have too much teeth and grinds commitment? I say, let atoms attract, let our lips speak for flesh on flesh, let I single electron fly to the soft round pucker of you. I need love like D.B. Cooper love, the kind you strap on before you jump, miles above a hijacked landscape you find on a riverbank, tangled like a bomber jacket in Salal or Blackberry. You read about front page, says lived incognito in Portland for years. Love you can't apprehend once the chute has opened. Some things he'll never be forgiven for. Some things not forgotten. Some things become opaque, the color of homebrew. Some set up in his gut like cement. Sometimes she wonders why he never learned to pray. Never let Jesus come. Some Sundays he gets his fiddle out and she can almost forgive him. Forget the tunes he plays and she can't place. Is it that lonesome whistle, or was it Amazing Grace? This one is called the Ballad of James Accord. James Accord is the only U.S. citizen that was granted a nuclear handler's permit in the U.S. And he did these art pieces out in Richland where he took nuclear waste. His idea was to take nuclear waste and embed them in these granite monstrous sculptures. So this is a ballad to James Accord. Sometimes alone, sometimes in clusters, sometimes in parallel, but a lifetime apart. Sometimes sinking, sometimes afloat. There are two parallel paths on which human beings seek the truth. Sometimes tangled in each other's hair, sometimes oblivious. Sometimes replicas coming off a conveyor belt upstream. I wanted to be able to identify and imagine how everything I saw was made. Sometimes punk, sometimes lipo folded into paper boats demonstrate the ancient link between art and technology. Sometimes mammalian, noses just above drowning. Sometimes a Cold War that never ended. Science and art, art and science, they're just two spokes going into the center of the karma wheel. Sometimes a rodeo, sometimes a Veterans Day parade. Sometimes loose cannon protons released from larger atoms looking to start a chain reaction. We have not stolen anything. We have just learned about it. Sometimes long stretches like nothing is wrong. Sometimes failure takes years. If you want to make things, if you want to create things, everything is hazardous. This is a new poem, kind of like an EP between LPs. Ravenna Press started a pamphlet series, and so they included some. She took a group of my new poems, kind of in between things, to put out as a pamphlet. So I have a few with me. So if you buy a book, you can have a pamphlet. How about that? There's a deal. Does it get any better than that? In Eugene on a Saturday night? I don't know. This is Refugium. This is about the tsunami debris field that's in the Pacific from the Tohoku, and so it's a little dark. I think we're all adults here, so there's some PG language, but we'll all probably survive. And in addition to that, it's about some other stuff that was happening around me at the same time that this debris field is heading across. Refugium. There is certain death coming. Can I be more direct? A wage of dirtful lyrics, fragmented emotions adrift, kept afloat by a certain lunacy. There's no warning, no time to despair, nor prepare. What stirs at the surface, oceanic drift, nor forgive, reduced to a rift, one vowel away from raft and salvation. What comes is opposite of what's beneath. Heading toward us, a mass as unseen as the dark moon, tugging our destiny, just a void in my soul, headed for these Pacific rocks. Oh, this ghost ship, adrift, a drifter, no captain aboard, no helmsman at the helm, a listing vestal, afloat, with foreboding on a wave, for warning, destruction yet to come. Without joy, without a sliver of light or lightness, without a plank to hold on to, at what point do you let go? Do you loosen your grip? Do you give in to forces that spew forth, that set you adrift, that set you down, one letter away from drown? While waiting, I refuse this past that encroaches on my current circumstance. Concurrent with aftermath, there is calmness in the comfort of radar tracking, in the distance of enhanced satellite imagery. There is no stopping inevitable, like there is no stopping what happened. What is done, out in the open now, on course, on an indifferent sea. Oh, revisionists, where are your erasers? Spiritually speaking, it's over your head. A wave the size of a widescreen 3D Godzilla movie, a wave crashing over your head, a wave one consonant away from save. Name it tsunami, an awareness of what's carried from Tohoku, building rubble, entire homes and their content, cars, engines, boats, fishing nets and buoys, toxic chemical containers, trees, plastics, an awareness you're over your head, unsaved, or as in, holy shit, this is one motherfucker wave. Forming a fullness, a color field on a satellite map, or flesh on bones, light-soaked translucence with spine, temporal, it's calm for the moment. Conditions in the ocean constantly changing, and items can sink, break down, and disperse across a huge area. The line of debris whirls snaking back on itself, a maze, amazing fullness of flesh, boats of bones embarking, full dispersal, full disclosure, fluid dynamics, anarchistically stacked, this patchwork destruction reflected upon surface. What face we show, the flatness of expression, what depth light adds, or is it what shadow subtracts? What adds perception or takes away definition? I can go for days not knowing the moon phase. Read right to left, your text breaks down. Assert control, urge toward chaos. Become compliant, complicit with current, mind over matter, flatness. Illumination that's not yours, not knowing what's headed right at you. No impediment. You get it, whether you choose it or not. Fundamentally locked up, can't move, inability in action. Sometimes failure takes years, remember? The world of resource, reallocation, alchemy in a tub of ocean, bastard sun of heaven and earth, great river of debris, nothing withstanding the surge inland, shakes our foundation, shifts our understanding, reconstructs our reality, becomes something to be cleaned up by Earth Day volunteers on the far shore of our capacity for wonder, tested by capacity. In violence that comes from within, or violence that comes from without, a strike force, a general strike, the hour of hooded violence, shoves who remains to sweep away your devastation, calculate the aftermath, who remains to protest, to cleanse your debris. A river of surface tension floats only, insubstantial, inconsequential, while your body strikes, retreats into relentless. A force that changes everything, erases the known, erodes the edges of maps, relocates entire ways of life, sounding what's buried you no longer can recall. What opening line did you imagine? This old moon, no pleasure, no sweetness, a force unseen. Navigation can be confusing. Maps are only approximations of where you are. Emotions, too, generally unreliable, approximate, and unaccounted for. Thanks to Tsunami Books for having us. This is great. Thanks for Howard for organizing. I'm really looking forward to the other readers tonight. This last poem is called Desolation, and it's about a hike I took up Desolation Peak in the Northern Cascades of Washington, right on the Canadian border. And it was to the fire lookout shack that Kerouac stayed in the 1950s, and he wrote Desolation Angels, and started some of the poems that would later be published in his book of haikus. So this is about my experience on the mountain. Desolation. Adoration to emptiness of the divine Buddha. Light, small camp stove on rock. Boil loose tea leaves in camp pot with begged water. Drink green tea offering Kerouac's ghost. Useless, rain into a full pool. Wake to miss Lightning Creek alone in rain gear skin. Doing a stint in the woods. Huddle beneath shelter on dock. pack extra socks and drink plenty of water, rain into a full pool. Upper Skagit hydropower, captain's all right with the idea of a dam, of a lake being here again, thousands of years after Glacial Lake, thousands of years after Cordilleran ice sheet. The engineers liked the gorged basalt. Mule barges north against a down lake wind. Oh, desolation, show mercy, a patch of blue. Adoration to emptiness of the divine Buddha. Someone scratched out 4¼ miles, scratched in 4.7. Lakes come up, we discover, Sunday morning. Can't avoid the void, missed to be missed. Jerry's good altimeter, German made and accurate, that and a topo is all you need. First aid for Christians' blistered feet, about a mile more. Square hermit shack, despair of Kerouac, evoked Han Shan from misted beyond, weathered and worn, windblown and torn. Everything painted Park Service green. It was well built, with steel rods going down into concrete pourings. It wouldn't blow away. Jerry nods. After 100 days alone, wind can make the shutters just bang. Square hermit shack. Adoration to emptiness of the divine Buddha. Sunday, returning down Highway 20, we intellectualize spirits, what remains in a place. Just 3 days ago on this same road, bopping to Johnny Griffith, who Pa says died last Saturday at 80. When a body occupies time alone, you see what you want to see on the peak. I say you see what you want to see on the peak alone. Lookout thermometer says 60 degrees. Weather affected you every day. I put on dry socks, sun hits rocks, Jeff squeezes peanut butter from a tube. Mist, it'll lift. Show great Canada to the north, blue bejeweled Ross, distant other worlds of electricity and consumers and desires below. Oh, Hosey mean, so much closer than foreseen, in and out of mist, it'll lift, pressing on the windowed square Buddha shack. Its shutters open all sides to gnarled pines, scattered sparse August, delicate bloom, scree, marmot scat, ants. And when the clouds part, be ready for what is. I want to stay on the peak, don't want to go down, be alone in desolate city, rather be alone on this beat rock. Although no good alone, I'll be alone anyhow in the end, Jack, rucksacked and ghosted.